Greetings, everyone. I'm Mar. Once again, this is my opinion, as you can tell from the title up there. I'm continuing my trek through the episodes of Batman the Animated Series, one episode at a time. You know, classic 90s show that I grew up with. Now, if I seem a little bit annoyed right now, it's because this is the second time I have to record this review. Just for whatever reason, the first time it stopped, so I was sitting here for several minutes just talking to myself without realizing it until I went to go push the stop button. And I thought that was a pretty good take, too. Except probably near the end when Odie started whining down there. I know, rambling a little bit. This, of course, is going to be episode 22, Joker's Favor. This is one written by Paul Dini, and this one goes down in the annals of history both for animation and for the greater DC universe, because this is the first appearance of Harley Quinn. Hard to imagine that a character that became that important, that big of a fan base, started in this episode as a plot device. And that was because there's a plot point I'm going to bring up as I'm talking about the plot of this episode, where originally it was going to be Joker and drag. But the more they were looking at this and trying to figure out how to make it work a little bit more logistically within the scope of the plot, they're like, it doesn't work that well because it's very out of character for Joker to do this. Now, it would be funny, haha, and there probably would be certain versions of the Joker that might do it. For this version, even though at this point they're trying to strike that balance between funny, haha, and oh my god, this is a killer clown, especially within the rules that standards and practices had given them. Even with that, this early on, they knew this Joker would not do this. So they're like, yeah, we gotta figure out. So they came up with the character of Harley Quinzel. And even though when you look at this in air order as a production order, this is the first episode that was aired. And production order, it being the fourth made, she kind of comes out of nowhere. Now later on, as they would come up with the backstory, you know, the whole Mad Love comic that became an episode in the revival portion of the show, even more episodes featuring Harley, like her whole little tryst with Poison Ivy, elaborating a little bit more her back and forth with Joker. That's going to be all retroactive, that's built up with her later appearances. Here, she's just a random female that's working with the Joker, also dressed as a clown. Now it starts her calling him Mr. J, but there's not really a lot there. It's more for her being the plot device, her design, and of course, Arlene Sorkin, lovely performance. Voiced the character for many years. All started here. And partially, not only due to the fact they need a plot device, but also because I guess she was friends with Paul Dini. And in an episode of Days of Our Lives, she had played a jester. So things built on top of one another, and here we go. Now, the episode is called Joker's Favor because the episode begins with a character named Charlie, your average Joe, and he's driving home. He, of course, lives in the city, so he's dealing with traffic. So, right off the bat, anyone who lives in or near a big city, regardless of where in the country, already going to identify with him because of the traffic. But then to add on top of it, it's one of those weird average days in Gotham where one of the villains escapes. Joker, in this case. So the police presence is higher, the Batman activity is higher because they're trying to find him. And of course, that on top of the traffic where he has to keep getting over is already annoying Charlie. And then another vehicle tries to get in his lane, a bigger old station wagon, and that just pushes him and he starts a little road rage incident. Now in the dialogue he says he curses the person out, but this is cartoon cursing, so it's very, very PG. This show was produced for HBO to where they could get away with more language. You probably would have told him to go stuff it or something a little bit more adult. For the kids version, it's like, yeah, that's not really cursing, but it works. But the person he ends up cursing at is the Joker, and the moment he realizes, he's like, oh crap, I cursed out the Joker. He tries to get away, but the Joker keeps following him, he keeps finding him. And he chases him until his vehicle breaks down. And it looks like Joker is going to either kill Charlie or he's going to beat him within an inch of his life. But he begs, and the Joker finally relents on the condition that Charlie fulfill one favor at a time and place of his choosing. Then the plot jumps ahead 2 years. Charlie and his family have moved from Gotham to Ohio, which, distance-wise, considering Gotham is supposed to be a stand-in for New York City, even the border of Ohio, which I'm guessing they're probably more in central Ohio, it is still a sizable distance. Now, Joker has been keeping tabs on Charlie just in case he ever has to cash in the favor. Now, when they moved, they changed their identities. Now, whether Charlie and them did it on their own or they went to witness protection, the episode never comments on. But I would say if it's witness protection, i.e. the government is backing everything, it just shows the Joker's resources and his dedication, his hyper-focus to make sure he knows where Charlie is at all times until he has to cash in that favor. It makes it a little scarier. Now, he does decide he's going to cash in the favor because the city of Gotham is going to honor James Gordon at this event. They're going to present him with an award, the whole shebang. And he decides that, oh, no, we cannot have that. So he's going to crash it. And he decides, you know what? I'm going to have Charlie help me crash it. So he contacts Charlie, and he basically has to threaten him a little bit. Charlie goes back to Gotham. Now, the favor is going to be him opening a door. But with the Joker, things are not cut and dry. Now, he is going to open a door, but it's going to be involving opening a door. So Harley, dressed as a policewoman, which is, of course, the whole thing in drag, and even beyond the drag, it's like, yeah, even with makeup, the Joker's not really going to be fooling anybody when he walks in there, so just a logistical issue beyond that. Harley pushes the cake in, and the cake has a bomb, and the bomb will go off. Now, like I said, and everything's not clear-cut, because Joker had no intention of letting Charlie leave, so Charlie was going to be involved in the explosion part of the bomb. Now, Charlie manages to contact Batman, but it is such a convoluted way that the only way it would work is if Batman was there. And everything, as a certain DBZ abridged narrator would say, how very convenient. Because he gets this little bat thing and arranges it to where it's going up in front of the window. And the only reason Bruce even notices it, at least with how the episode is done, is that Alfred's driving and he happens to look up in the rear view mirror and sees the bat. But, as Donatello said, it worked. So Charlie's plan works. Batman finds out. He thwarts Joker and Harley's plan. And Joker tries to escape, but Charlie intervenes. And he gets a good shot in on Joker. So I'm watching this episode while I was in the gym on the bike. I'm like, yeah, Charlie, kick his ass. He's about to retaliate, but then Charlie pulls out a bomb. And we all know, and there's no way Charlie's going to kamikaze Joker right here. And it turns out it's just a gag thing. Even with Batman trying to talk Charlie down, it's just a gag thing. But it does work for the episode's end, and there's a nice little bit of humor there. And it's one of those things, all's well that ends well type of thing with the ending. You know, Joker's captured, Charlie no longer has to worry about him. I mean, there's always that thing that Joker might try to retaliate after this, but it's never brought up, even though we know in the comics probably Charlie would have ended up dead next time Joker got out. Or it might have been to the point where Joker just didn't really give a crap anymore. Decided, like, yeah, it's not worth my time. Not worth my game. Animation for the episode's pretty good. I mean, nothing on it. Like, yeah, not too many flaws, but not like, oh my god, to where I gotta praise stuff like for some of the other episodes is there. Score for Joker episode, decent. Now about the scene that they had to create Harley for. Harvey Bullock does act like a pig in that episode when Harley's walking by. He's like, you want to read me my rights? Type of stuff we expect from Bullock at this point. And she calls him a pig and she hits him in the leg with a nightstick. So a little bit of humor there. Because she got one up on Bullock. Kind of stuff we expect from Bullock and all that. And also him being a pig when he grabs the roll that was on Montoya's plate. He's like, you're going to eat that roll? I'm watching this. I'm like, Bullock, you sick, gluttonous pig. That's really all there is to say about this episode. It's a pretty decent episode, has a good premise, and decent introduction for Harley Quinn, even though she doesn't really have a lot to do here. But like I said, she's eventually just a plot device in this episode. My notes that I have written already, I don't have another Joker episode popping up, so I'll probably have to check to see how far down the line it is until we hit another one and see if she's in that one. I know off the top of my head that she appears in the episode where she teams up with Poison Ivy, and that's one I remember. But beyond that, I'm not really thinking of any Harley Quinn moments until we hit the revival. So maybe they're just not standing out right now. But the further we get along in this rewatch, we'll see. And as for now, that's really all there is to say about that. Next time, we're going to be dealing with the introduction of another character into the show, and that, of course, is going to be Killer Croc. But that is, of course, next time. Till then, everyone.